What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. It looks like it's gonna be a week. We have multiple events now that have been announced, one being a state of play, specifically focusing in on Japan, and we'll go over what could be announced with that here today. The other end, though, we have a Nintendo Direct happening, but not necessarily what you would typically expect a Direct to focus on, and we'll look at that. And we also have some more information getting out there around Microsoft with next generation and sort of the direction that they're taking things in, and yeah, it looks like they really are going for it. All of that and more. Guys, if you enjoy these videos, make sure you hit that like button. Helps out a ton. And if you're new here to the Spawnwave channel, make sure you subscribe down below. We're here every weekday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern time, keeping you up to date on the world of games. So even if you don't get a notification, just know there's probably a video here for you in the morning. And we're going to start today with a new website that Nintendo has launched. This so you can look up compatibility with Switch and Switch 2 backwards compatibility. So if you want to look up a certain game and see if it works fine, you can type it in this site here, and it'll come up and tell you if there is any kind of maybe issues that are happening with the game, or if there were prior issues, if it's been resolved. The other side effect that people have noticed, and I saw a few articles pop up, like from VGC, for example, that if you search for a game, you will be given the answer of if it's compatible, but you'll also be given like a 1080p image that works well as a background. So that works seemingly for any game. Like any game on the eShop has one that's set up in that format, and then you can just right click and download it, and boom, you have I guess a desktop background for your favorite game or something. So kind of I guess a nice collection of just background images along with the information for if it works on the Switch 2 or not. So there you go. You can check it out if you want. I'll have a link down below in the sources. Also, good news on the emulation front, specifically for the PlayStation 2. As you can see, this is over on pushsquare.com saying that the emulator, open source emulator, I should say, PCSX2, is now compatible with more than 99.5% of the PlayStation 2's library. I mean, that's a lot of games. Now, they do note some of the games that still have issues. Driver 3, Final Fantasy 11, Marvel Nemesis Rise the Imperfects, and World Series Baseball 2K3. So nothing hard-hitting. I mean, look, Driver 3, I'm sure there are fans out there for. I think the issue has something to do with AI and the driving or something in that game when it comes to the emulation side. But the vast majority of games on PCSX2 do at least boot up. Now, some are more functional than others, we'll say. And I just got done making a system that's fairly cheap. That's a 4K setup for emulation with PS2 and GameCube, and I'm working towards releasing that video maybe this weekend. So when I read this news, I'm like, great, because the PS2 games run great in 4K. It looks awesome for all the in-game models and stuff that are rendered. Some of the text, not as much, but you'd have to go through texture packs and stuff to fix that. But some of these PS2 games, when you scale them up to 4K, still look awesome. So good to hear that compatibility is that good right now for the emulation on the PS2 side, because that library is huge. You could get lost completely in it and, I mean, have a massive backlog, honestly, for decades at this point with it. Oh, and we're kind of expecting Valve to make some sort of announcement around hardware or software, and now we're to a point you can see this. We're just getting full-on mock-ups of this Steam controller, well, a new Steam controller that we're once again expecting to be announced because all the data mining that's happening, we've seen images of it, and now we have kind of this rendering that Brad Lynch posted, and they'd already mentioned that this is just done through AI, so it's kind of an AI interpretation of the controller when they feed it all the imagery that's out there, at least on the back end for Valve with Steam. And we're expecting the controller, some sort of VR headset from Valve. The console keeps getting thrown around. We'll see. That'd be a lot to announce all at once. And then the potential, I'll just say, for a new numbered game. We'll see there, but at least this gives us an idea as to what the controller could look like, and it looks pretty interesting. The touchpads are great, but it does looks kind of chunky, I guess. Again, this is just an AI interpretation. We'll have to see when Valve is finally ready to show off the controller in full, as it seems like it's pretty close just based on a lot of the updates in the background. And guys, with some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. Let's start right away with Nintendo and the Direct that they have scheduled for tomorrow. This we can see on their official X account, where they say, join us on Wednesday, November 12th, 6 a.m. Pacific, 9 a.m. Eastern, for the Nintendo Direct featuring the world premiere of the Super Mario Galaxy movie official trailer. Please note that no game information will be included in this presentation. I like that they feel the need to do that. I mean, it's good anyway, since, you know, if they didn't say that, people would be speculating like crazy for like 24 hours of, are they going to show a brand new game here as well? No, this is strictly going to be information about the Mario Galaxy movie. And I mean, we just talked about how the renderings for Yoshi and Mario in like on the front and then also on the back for these Pillsbury cookies, that was starting to get out there. We got information about a trailer maybe being attached to a few movies coming up here for the holiday season. So we figured, yes, you will see a trailer here pretty soon, and we're getting an entire direct that is going to be focused in on it. Now, this of course has led to questions around, do they really need to use a direct tag for a trailer like this? And I mean, Nintendo has made it very clear at this point that a direct is really any kind of large announcement that they want to make, whether it's a combination of a bunch of different games like they've done at places like E3, but then just over the summer or in the fall and winter and to kick off the year, or if they want to focus in on specific games, like one at a time. They've even used the direct tag for showing off a theme park. So this really isn't that crazy or out of left field technically. Now, with the movie itself, it coming out the first week of April 2026, the marketing, yeah, you figure that marketing machine would start really ramping up here, and why wouldn't you make a big spectacle out of the first real trailer? We've seen the teaser for it, but like really show off, I assume, characters that will be introduced and we'll see for the first time here. Probably voice actors or actresses here as well, and then any pertinent details around plot or direction of the movie. And this really is poised to be massive for Nintendo after the first one did what, $1.3 billion plus at the box office. And then you consider the merchandise, the notoriety for just Mario and Nintendo outright with the more general audience, and then DVD and Blu-ray sales, streaming rights, a lot of money was brought in because of the Mario movie. So yes, a follow-up sequel here. And then we roll into things like The Legend of Zelda, probably a Donkey Kong movie. I would like to see them branch out to some of the, I know they necessarily don't want to take a massive swing at a smaller franchise. I think Metroid would look awesome on the big screen. Now that could also be something where they go, you know, maybe like an 8-episode series with Amazon or Netflix or something like that. But I'm just thinking of the spectacle that Metroid could be up on a huge screen or in IMAX or something. But for now, they're kind of playing it safe. And why wouldn't they get their feet under them with all the connections that they make with some of these different studios to create these movies, and then they're off and running. So Mario Galaxy movie makes sense. The Legend of Zelda, sure. And probably, yes, Donkey Kong. So we'll see what Nintendo has for us tomorrow with this trailer. Also kind of sounds like, I guess it'll be sort of a shorter direct, although you could have Miyamoto just kind of hang out and talk for a bit, maybe introduce some of the new voices that they'll have in the movie and talk about it briefly, and then boom, we have a 10-minute direct with a trailer that's maybe like 2 minutes, 3 minutes or something like that. So interesting stuff. Let me know, I guess, what your thoughts are around this Mario Galaxy movie, and if you think we'll see any interesting cameos, I'll say, get dropped in. Next up, let's talk about Sony and a state of play that they have announced for today, and we can see this over on PlayStation Blog. The State of Play Japan airs on YouTube November 11th, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And as the title suggests, and even the card that they put here, yeah, it's going to be heavily focused in games created in Japan and across Asia, alongside a few other exciting updates, according to Sony on their blog post. Now, this is going to run for more than 40 minutes, so it's not going to be like a small state of play or anything. This is going to be a sizable one. And they do also have a voice actor who will be kind of guiding us through it. Yuki Kaji will be packed with great games, interviews, and new looks at anticipated titles. So we will hear from some of the people behind the games at these different studios. And of course, speculation is running wild as to what could be here. So just going through a quick list of all the big shots people are taking right now online. And keep in mind, I'm sure there will be some big announcements here, but there'll probably also be some smaller things that, I mean, they could be seeing it for the first time here, and it's like a smaller indie studio or something. So just don't make the wish list of wish lists, you know what I mean? But either way, we'll go through some of the stuff people are pointing at, and we'll see what happens here. So Phantom Blade Zero, that's been shown quite a bit, and it seems like it would fit in here, whether it's I guess just more of an update around it with development and even, I guess, a release date, that kind of thing. Marvel Tokon, they could show off some more characters for it. Kingdom Hearts 4, I keep seeing that come up. And it's like, you know what? Square should be set up to show this thing. And it's one of those, I feel like it's one of those games you don't even predict and you just wait for it to show up because it's just, who knows with Square. And then on top of that, we assume Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3, they're going to try to fit that in before the end of the PlayStation 5 generation. So maybe they would at least get the ball rolling on that one. But either way, two Square Enix games that have already been kind of speculated on here. I would be shocked if Square didn't show up in some capacity, all right? Persona 6 is another one that's been brought up because it's been a long time since Persona 5 came out and everyone's kind of waiting for the next big entry. You know, I thought about this. What about Ace Combat? It's been a bit since we had a new Ace Combat game, and I think it'd be kind of cool to see that get announced here. Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 2, I do think that's kind of... They keep talking about it, Konami does, and there's like, oh, we're working on it, we'll get there, okay? And I feel like Metal Gear Solid 4 being the clear hang-up is that's basically got to be almost developed all over again with it being on the PlayStation 3 and being ported over to multiple different platforms. But I'm throwing that in there as the hopeful bid with Volume 2. I just would like to see Metal Gear Solid 4 come out on something that's not just the PS3. Now, there's also rumors going around about a region-locked PS5 for Japan, the system, that would be sold cheaper than it is currently, like the region-free quote-unquote model. And that's a strategy Nintendo has used to great success right now with the Switch 2. So I think that would make sense for Sony to try to lower the cost, but keep it specific to the Japan region. Like, it would make a lot of sense from a business perspective, so they can continue to just sell PlayStation 5 systems in a region that, I mean, it is very expensive to get a PS5, so Sony has to kind of work some things out there, and we'll see if that's something maybe they want to announce here. The only thing that's kind of weird about that is if you announce it during what is being really set up as a state of play for just like the world, it'd be weird to be like, oh yeah, this system is now available just exclusively in Japan. That would make sense to have maybe a press release go out after the state of play airs, but just something to at least keep an eye out for there. So I guess let me know what your best guesses are down below in the comments for what Sony could show in a 40-minute Japan-focused state of play. Next up, let's talk about Microsoft, the Xbox, and next generation, as it does sound like they're basically going to be delivering a PC. Well, they're going to merge the console Xbox space with Xbox on PC, or Microsoft Gaming, however they're referring to it now, and it's just going to be mashed together in what's going to mostly just be a mini PC for the living room, but which is an interface that is more console or Xbox-like. Still, though, we're hearing now about some information for developers and some updates that Microsoft is deploying, with the most recent one being October 2025. This we can see, though, over on Windows Central. And they say Microsoft is working to improve the experience for game developers with a big October 2025 update. They do go through a couple of points here. The first one with feature Game Input unifies all keyboard, mouse, Xbox gamepad, and even custom controller models into a single interface. We have PlayFab game saves. That's cross-save support across Steam along with Xbox, and seems like, I guess, as we've heard from Microsoft, that they would be trying to get other storefronts or platforms onto this Xbox mini PC, one of them being Steam. If you can have your game saves go between Steam, Xbox, Epic Game Store, and others, okay, that has pretty significant convenience, I'd say, to it. Xbox Game Package Manager. The new package manager should improve the workflow for developers, targeting Xbox Play Anywhere. Instead of multiple tools, services, and in some cases teams working towards validating separate versions of the game, the new package manager gets everything ready in a single unified interface. They also touch on the idea of ARM64 and x64 executable, so developers can now declare ARM64 and x64 attributes within a single build, enabling native ARM device performance within a single package. And as I'm going through this, all I'm really seeing is that Microsoft wants to put everything under one umbrella. So you're not just developing for PC and then Xbox over here. When you put out a game, it's just going to be across the board in one environment, one platform. And even the idea of ARM being brought in, I mean, Windows gaming on tablets and other ARM devices, as we've seen even laptops moving more and more to that, it makes sense as a kind of a bid for the future, and just having these games everywhere possible, and of course playing into the Xbox Play Anywhere idea that is all about buying the game once and being able to have the game meet you wherever you are at that time, whether it's in the cloud, console, phone, PC, wherever really. So, I mean, the vision is good. I do have questions about how excited developers are to jump on board of, oh, cool. So like PC and Xbox aren't separate, which means we're not going to be selling maybe 2 copies to one person. You know how like developers and publishers are thinking, oh, we're going to sell multiple copies because it's all these different platforms. One person's going to buy a bunch of them. Now, though, it's one entitlement. So I think it's good because it casts a wide net, but it also does limit the amount of copies, I guess, that these companies think they can sell to the same person. So we'll see how all of that works out, because right now, Play Anywhere is kind of scattershot. Sometimes you have a third party show up and their games just play anywhere. And then other times it's not. And it's like, oh, okay, I need to either buy the PC version or I got to buy the Xbox version. Like, which one? So hopefully they can work all of that out behind the scenes with developers, because at least here it seems like they're going to try to make it as easy as possible to put your game everywhere on all these different platforms all at once. And in our last bit of news, let's talk about Elder Scrolls 6. It's been a long time since Elder Scrolls 5 came out, right? That was 2011. And then we see the Elder Scrolls 6 teaser 2018. E3 was still around. That's how long ago that was. Well, now we're hearing from Todd Howard that might be a bit longer still, and this we can see posted. This is over on VGC. They say, speaking to GQ, Howard said that the game is still a long way off, that being Elder Scrolls 6, adding, I'm preaching patience. I don't want fans to feel anxious. So we're in 2025. It's been 7 years since that teaser for Elder Scrolls 6, and I'm getting like 2028 and beyond vibes right now. I wouldn't be shocked if this was a 2030 game. That sounds crazy to say out loud, because that means we would be 18 to 19 years removed from Skyrim, Elder Scrolls 5. Anyway, it does go on to talk a bit more about a few other things, like, for example, claim that Bethesda Game Studios has hundreds of people on Fallout right now, with 76 and some other things we're doing. Now, VGC understands that there's other things they're doing, is a remaster of Fallout 3, similar to this year's Elder Scrolls Oblivion remastered. And look, I do think Fallout 3 getting a remaster treatment like that would be awesome. I think it would sell really, really well. Oblivion sold really well. The performance was another whole other thing, but a lot of evidence has mounted that Unreal Engine 5 seems to be a whole struggle on its own. So I figure that's what they're still going to do with Fallout 3 Remastered, but we could still be years off of that as well. And when I hear that, I'm like, wait, maybe Fallout 3 Remastered is like a late 2026, 2027 thing? Does that mean that we're looking at, Elder Scrolls 6 as 2029, 2030? Because we talked about GTA 6 from 5. 5 came out in 2013, and we're like, that was forever ago. Yeah, 2 years before that, Skyrim came out. So that's a legendary gap. Now they told us that it was in development in 2018, so I guess you would start the clock then, and they've done so many releases of Skyrim, it doesn't necessarily feel like it's been that long, but it has. So we'll see how long it takes for this game to come out. I did have it as a poll though, so we'll see what everyone thought. And we can see that poll here. When will Elder Scrolls 6 release? Wow, 2030 or later is 55%. No confidence that it's out any sooner than that from the majority of people. 21%, they do say 2028. 17% say 2029. 6% of you holding out hope that it's showing up in 2027. Man, that would be cool if they just randomly are like, oh yeah, it's coming out. Yes, it took us 9 years from the teaser to tell you it's coming out now, and here it is, it's coming out this year, but I still feel like that's something they want to have a big grand reveal, and then it's coming out the following year, so it kind of feels like they would maybe want to tell us about it then in 2026. So I am kind of thinking this is a next generation thing for Microsoft with their whatever the next Xbox or PC is. Probably a PlayStation 6 game at this point, and that to me means it's 2029 or 2030. Yeah, about 18 years actually after Elder Scrolls 5 came out. So there you go. Yeah, GTA 6 can step aside because we're literally gonna get GTA 6 before Elder Scrolls 6. And we'll finish up with the comment of the day, as you're seeing here. This is from Boss Snake Master says, the reason Steam dominates is because every other PC platform copies a few of its features, but ignores the ones that actually matter. On Steam, I can open any game page, go to discussions, and instantly see if a game has problems, and usually find a fix right there. Steam isn't just a store, it's a community and a knowledge base for gamers. Yeah, that's the thing. Steam is very well built out. They've had a ton of time to create this platform and figure out what works and what doesn't. And that entire way, People have been building their digital libraries and, as you mentioned, their communities within Steam. So with all of that happening, it's very hard to pull people away from that platform, just outright. It's been there for as long as it has, and people, I mean, they were starting to build their library back, you could say, when Half-Life 2 came out even, but after that, you could have, if you joined Steam, we'll say, with like a nice gaming PC and stuff in 2010 or 2011, you've still been there for 15 years building. Think about all the sales that happen, and then you look over and you have a huge back catalog of games without even realizing it, because $20 for some reason got you 6 games or something. That's the thing. You start to really have that digital footprint locked in, and it doesn't seem to matter if Epic Games shows up and just starts giving away games, because you go, I'll wait for it to come to Steam. I already have a massive library and my friends list and all these other features on Steam. It really does have that kind of pull. And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit that like button. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about here today. If you missed yesterday's Newswave, I'll leave it up here in a card. Or maybe you want to check out Nintendo's Black Friday deals. They did publish those yesterday, and I went over those in a video, and I'll leave that right below it. Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll see you next time.